فإن المختصر من الكتاب. So if you look at the abridgment of a book, هو الذي قلل لفظه, it's the one in which the words are diminished. So it's a paucity of words, واستوفي معناه, and yet the meaning is complete. Because a lot of books, as you know, have things that expound upon, but you can abridge a book to get to the fundamental things and not miss anything from the book. So if you read, for instance, an abridgment of the Muqaddimah of Ibn Khaldun or Toynbee's abridgment, some of you read that here, the study of history. He took 9 volumes and reduced it down to 2 volumes. And you will get in that book the basic contents of the 9 volumes. So, ومن حيث إنه جعل من صفوة العالم ولبابه وخلاصته وثمرته فهو كالزبد من المخيط. So he's saying, and from the point of view that he was made from the essence of the worlds, its pith, its innermost core, and the summation of it, and its fruit. He is in essence like the cream or the butter that rises from the makhid. Makhid is like sour milk. So the Bedouin, and I mean this is something you'll find in a lot of traditions, but the Bedouins still do this. So you have this thing called a jaffafa, and it's basically a goat skin, and it has, they've stitched it all up. They put the milk in, and then they rock it. And the milk, there's enzymes in there, so over time the milk will get sour, but then the butter rises. So he's saying that that's what, if you look at the creation like that milk, but the essence of the milk is that cream, that's the human being from creation. He's using that as an analogy for that. وَالدُّهْنِ مِنَ السِّمْسِمْ, or like the oil from sesame. فَمَا مِنْ شَيْءٍ إِلَّا وَالْإِنسَانُ يُشْبِهُهُ مِنْ وَجْهٍ. So there's nothing in the world except you'll find some similarity between that thing and between the human being. كالأركان. So if you look at the elements of the world, من حيث ما فيه من الحرارة والبرودة والرطوبة واليبوسة, from the perspective of heat and cold and moisture and dryness. So human beings have all those elements based on that 4 elemental theory. Or كالمعادن من حيث ما هو جسم. Or like the minerals, because the human being has minerals in his body. So he's a material form, like a rock. And the Prophet ﷺ said also spiritually, الناس معادن. People are spiritual minds. So there's gold people, there's silver people, there's copper people, there's lead people, there's radioactive people, toxic people. Like people, there's الناس معادن. And then he says, وَكَالنَّبَاتِ مِنْ حَيْثُ يَتَغَذَّى وَيَتَرَبَّى. And also we're like the vegetable world, because we grow like vegetables. We eat, like you pour water on the plant and it grows. You give it the potassium and the phosphate and it grows, or manure, or whatever you do, the compost. So the same with the human being. We grow like that. وَكَالْبَهِيمَةِ, or like the animal kingdom, so mineral, vegetable, animal, مِنْ حَيْثُ مَا يُحِسُّ, that it's sentient, وَيَتَخَيَّرُ, and then it also has levels of perception, وَيَتَوَهَّمُ, like an animal can actually be frightened and think something's there that's not there. Like an animal can see a rope and think it's a snake, and so it imagined something that wasn't there. So it's saying we share that with the animals. We know that animals also have pleasure and pain. I mean, animals, a cat, if you pet a cat, it starts purring because it enjoys the petting, the touch of it. And then he says, وَكَالسَّبْعِ مِنْ حَيْثُ مَا يَحْرَدُ وَيَحْرَبُ, or يَحْرِدُ وَيَحْرِبُ is حَرِدَ يَحْرَدُ وَحَرِبَ يَحْرَبُ. I think it can go both ways. كَالسَّبْعِ مِنْ حَيْثُ مَا يَحْرَدُ وَيَحْرَبُ. So يَحْرَدُ is like to get angry, حَرِدٌ, somebody who's angry, and يَحْرَبُ, they get belligerent. So he's saying we're like predatory animals that can get belligerent. وكالشيطان, or demons, من حيث ما يمكر ويكيد ويغوي ويضل, or we become like demons in that we plot and we have these Machiavellian strategies and that we lead people astray, right? Like shayateen. وكالملك, or we can be like the angel. من حيث ما يعرف الله تعالى ويعبده ويخافه. We can be like the angel that knows God and worships God and is in awe of God. وكاللوح المحفوظ, or we could be like the preserved tablet. من حيث قد جعله الله مجمع الحكم, that Allah has put all of the wisdom of creation into that tablet. التي كتبها فيه على سبيل الاختصار. So he's like again an abridgment. فقد ذكر بعض الحكماء في بدن الإنسان 4000 حكمة. One of the sages said that in the body of the human being are 4,000 wisdoms. وفي نفسه قريب من ذلك, and in his soul is something similar to that. وكالقلم من حيث ما يثبت بكلامه صور الأشياء في قلوب الناس. كما أن القلم يثبت الحكمة في اللوح المحفوظ. And also we're like the qalam that Allah created and said اكتب من حيث ما يثبت, because it's the pen preserves the words by صور الأشياء في قلوب. So the human being, when we speak, you can actually create conceptualizations in the people. كما أن القلم يثبت الحكم في اللوح المحفوظ. So when you speak, it's as if your tongue is a pen, because it's having an impression on the one you're speaking to. There's something that's happening. There's a taswir in their hearts that's happening. ولكون الإنسان مكونا من قوى مختلفة قال الله تعالى إنا خلقنا الإنسان من نطفة أمشاج نبتليه. And from the perspective that the human being is created from all of these different powers, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, we created the human being min nutfa amshaj nabtalihi. So this is a very interesting verse in Surah Al-Insan. It's one of the ishkalat in tafsir because the nutfa is singular, but the amshaj, which is a sifa here of the nutfa, is plural. So mashij it's multicolored. It's something that has a cloth that's mashij. It's woven, interwoven. So there's a warp and woof to it. So amshaj is mixed. So it's a nutfa mixed. I really think genuinely that this ayah is one of the great miracles of the Quran, because I think it's clearly indicative of the zygote, which is the mixing of the male and the female genetic material. And it's very interesting that the word, and I don't know why they did this, but the word in modern Arabic for the genetic material is the same word that is used here. And I don't know if they did that purposefully, or is that just merely a linguistic coincidence, or if it is, then it's clearly from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. It's like Imam Malik was asked about the porpoise. Porpoise, it's called khinzir al-bahar, which means the pig of the ocean, because porpoise in Greek means ocean pig. And so, because it's got that snout, right, the porpoise. So they asked Malik, what he thought of it. Did he think it was permissible? And he said, Antum sammaytumuhu khinzira. You named it a pig. In other words, just because it has that name, I wouldn't eat it. So names are very interesting in that way. أي مختلطة من قوى أشياء مختلفة. So it's mixed from all these potentialities, from all these different things. ولكون العالم والإنسان متشابهين إذا اعتبرها قيل الإنسان عالم صغير. And from this point of view, that the world and the human being resemble one another, if one considers, if this is considered, then it's said that the human being is the microcosm, and that the universe is the great man, right? ولذلك قال الله تعالى ما خلقكم ولا بعثكم إلا كنفس واحدة. And for that reason Allah said your creation and your resurrection is like one nafs, كنفس واحدة.